calf injury. He'll be out for a little bit. Nick Bosa had a maintenance day, Hurd had a maintenance day, and Maurice Hurst is day-to-day with a slight ankle. Go ahead.
What's your plan for Marcel Harris?
We've been working him at linebacker. He wasn't able to do anything in OTAs. He worked at linebacker a little bit last year some, and unfortunately he didn't get to practice in OTAs, so he's had 3 days of it. We'll see how it goes. We know what he can do at safety, and we're just seeing what he can do there.
Kind of a tryout thing, just kind of figuring out where he fits best?
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have put him there if we didn't believe he could do it, and we think he has a chance to be one of our linebackers that can make this team. We know he's done it before in the past as a safety. He's always been a great special teams player for us, so we think that possibly could be his better position, but we're trying to find out.
How did you feel like cadence went today?
I thought it went a lot better. Yeah, I mean, the D-line's teeing off on stuff as they always do. So if we aren't aggressive, switching our cadence up all the time, we're going to have some trouble with those guys. And, you know, you don't want to do a ton of cadence right away. But if you don't, with the way our D-line plays, you're in trouble. So I like our guys challenging themselves to do it a bunch, and I thought they did a much better job.
Well, I know it's hard to evaluate running backs before they get the pads on, but it looks like the rookies you brought in are showing some good speed out there, and it seemed like they're getting a hold of things pretty well.
Yeah, I was excited with the little runs that they got in OTAs. We know the talent they have, but you just want to see how natural it is for them, and especially when there's not pads on, sometimes it's tough to go through their full speed and hit the right holes, but those guys have ran like vets. They haven't hesitated without pads. They've been running through there, and I'm excited to see them once we get more pads on and get them in games where people are tackling them.
When it comes to the vaccine, how do you balance a concern over a player not getting it and not pressuring too much?
I mean, we haven't pressured anyone. You know, I think it would have been a lot harder if we had a big group of guys not doing it. You know, I think that was more of our worry. And then, about a week up to camp, we got past at 85%. I know I think it's 5 or less. I think it's 5. But, those 5 we're not going to pressure. It would have been tough if a lot of our team didn't, and we had to do things different. But with the small amount of guys doing it, and things I think are a lot tougher on them, but it doesn't affect the team that much. However, some of the stuff they got to go through is pretty frustrating. So I know they got to balance out how they feel about that and what they're going to have to go through this year playing football.
When you released Sanu last year, what was that conversation? Obviously, you have a relationship with him. There wasn't conversations like, how am I clearly not quite right, or,
Yeah, it was tough because of how much respect I have for Mo. And he wasn't at his best at that time. And we just had we had too many receivers that we liked. And we had Debo coming back from injury. We had Ayuk. There weren't other guys. We had some roster issues, I think, with a bunch of other guys getting hurt. And there were too many receivers that we couldn't give up on to keep Mo there. And with him not being the best that I was used to with him, I was honest with him, and he understood. And that's what's cool about Mo. Mo's a man. You can be honest with him. He doesn't take anything personally. He knows his business, and that's why it was so cool to see him. Watch him at Detroit at the end of the year, where I thought he got a chance because he wasn't in New England's camp. Came to ours, I think, week 1 or 2, and getting to play there a little bit. I think he got more into shape, and I thought he played at a much higher level at the end of the year at Detroit. And when he hit us up over the summer, telling us how good he was and how good a shape he was in, he's a guy we believe. He doesn't really usually tell you that just to tell you that, and it's been accurate so far.
Was it both mental and physical?
What's that?
Was it both mental and physical that you saw, like, that wasn't up to par?
I think he was mentally, because Mo doesn't really change with that. But, when he gets out on the football field, he's always going to be locked in and doing that stuff. But I think COVID had an effect on everyone. Everyone's, Mo's not a guy who's not going to work out or anything. He's always working out. But I think that became a lot bigger challenge for guys in COVID and doing it in their backyards and stuff like that. And then you don't get in a training camp, and he's a guy who kind of needs a training camp. He likes to grind and do all that stuff. And just to hop in with us, his mental was there. But it's all about what you do before that. You can't catch up when you miss kind of an off season, and I think that's what he learned from that and was more than ready this year.
You mentioned a couple of times he reached out to you guys. Did he call you directly and say, hey, this is kind of where I'm at? How did that go down?
Yeah, I have a good relationship with Mo, so if it's usually he's just going to call me. and send me video of him in his backyard, whatever it is, to show me that he's in shape. But usually when he tells me, I can tell when he's confident and when he knows, hey, I might need a couple weeks. That's a big difference. But I'm just talking to him over the summer because I saw him last, so that does put you. I saw him last year when we had to let him go, which puts some worry in it. But when a guy you know and a guy you respect calls you and you trust him, then you give him an opportunity. And he came in and he was everything he said.
The energy that comes from the corner when the defensive linemen are warming up with Kasarik and now Darryl Tapp is really palpable. How does that compare to other defensive line corners in your coaching career? That's
at the top. It's borderline crazy. They're walking a fine line, but that's what playing D-line in the NFL is. And that's why if you're going to challenge guys and make them work that hard like he does, and to get guys to really do it without eventually snapping on you, you got to have a lot of love for you guys, and you got to be completely invested in them. And I mean, that's what he does 24/7. I'm sure he has a little daughter. I think she's a year and a half old. I'm sure he's coaching her on D-line stuff, and his wife. So he lives and dies it, and it's every day. Nothing changes. If you try to talk to him during vacation, just be prepared. It won't be 5 minutes long. He won't stop until you tell him you got to go. And I think his guys love him for it because he is completely invested in those guys.
Jimmy, earlier this week when we spoke to him, sounded very thankful to have Rich Scangarello back. Is there something unique about the relationship that those two have? And is Scangarello maybe able to get something out of Jimmy that might be a little bit unique?
I think so. I think it was good that they had a relationship in the past. Rich was here when the first year and a half that we had Jimmy here, and they got to know each other very well. Rich probably only got to coach him in about 7 games because the second year Jimmy got hurt so fast. But I think he was very comfortable with them. Rich has been a lot of places, really understands the quarterback position well. He's been in a bunch of different schemes, and I look at Rich as more of a veteran, and I think Jimmy having him around and just a guy to talk to and bounce things off of. I mean, he said it, but I would have guessed it too. I think he makes him more comfortable.
Was it a pretty easy decision to bring him back when you saw he was available?
Yeah, once he was available, I didn't look into anyone else. We knew we were going to go that direction because he had been here, and I knew how Jimmy felt, and I knew how I felt.
I know you guys haven't had a chance to look at film for practice, and it's obviously crazy early, but Trey had a couple iffy throws today. Have you been able to get a sense of, in the film room, how critical he is of himself?
Oh, yeah. You don't have to get on him too much. I mean, when we don't have a good throw, he knows it as much as anyone. I just like that he keeps firing it. I mean, some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. But the more you get reps, the more you get your feet under you, the more you know where you're going, the more consistent that'll be. And, the 40 days Trey was away, the work he put in when we're not there, it's pretty cool because you know how you end at OTAs. They get away and you're not sure how they're going to be when they come back, and he's been better coming back, and now it's our job to help him get better throughout training camp.
When you were watching the offense behind today, did you notice Samson Abraham a little bit more today? It seemed like he had a couple sacks more.
Yeah, I did. I thought our D-line was going today. I think it's been a real competitive camp. I think the defense probably got the best of the O today. But yeah, they're all tough to handle. But Samson, he's done a real good job. He's in shape. He's explosive. He's strong. We're not surprised. We've played against him twice a year for, I think, the last 4 years. So he's been exactly what we hoped for.
How big of a disadvantage is the offensive line out without pads? How much will that kind of change?
It's a big disadvantage. I mean, I don't think it's as much in the run game, but it's a lot harder in the pass game. Just pass blocking guys when you can't really quick set them and get into guys, and they're all a lot slippier when they don't have their shoulder pads on. So I think pass game's the hardest.
A lot of players have talked about their mental health. Do you feel like that's kind of a result of it being more accepted, or is it just kind of what everybody went through last year? Seems like it's more evident, people talking about how they need to take care of their mental health.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole world's different than it was 20 years ago. I think our parents were more embarrassed to talk about it just because that's how everybody was, and I think our generation's a little bit more used to it, and I guarantee our kids' generation will be a lot more used to it. So I think that's normal with football and everywhere. But I do think everyone is aware that not everyone wasn't in a great spot last year, and some better, some weren't as bad as others. But going through COVID, not just for our team, but really every person I know relationship-wise. I think everyone had to go through that a little bit, and how making sure your mental health was right, whether it was with your family, whether it's in your business, or whether it's playing football. If your mind's not right, it's kind of hard to be a good friend, a good dad, or a good football player, or good at whatever you do.
Going back to evaluating the O-line and D-line, what in this early part of practice are you looking at of Tom Compton and Daniel Brunskill?
Really just how I know where they're at in OTAs, and then what they've done in their 40 days away. I like to see if they've gotten better or worse, and those guys have been really preparing. I think Brunskill came in great last year. He was one of the few guys, I think, that he used to send us videos in his garage with people throwing bags at him and all this. He was very creative wherever he was. I think in South Dakota or something, coming up with stuff. And I thought that's why Tom struggled a little bit, though. Tom had a harder time coming into camp, and just going through the COVID and not being in as good a football shape as he could. And then training camp last year didn't allow us to get ready on just how quick it was. So I think that hurt Tom most of the year. Started to get right towards the end of the year before that concussion. But both of them, I think, have learned from that, and I think they both are come back a lot better than they were last year, and there's going to be some good competition there.
One more O-line question about the back.
Down, we got to see if he can do it at tackle. So we knew we were probably going to throw him at guard at first. School going down, we got to see what he can do at tackle, and we know it's been nice because we know he has the ability to do it, and now we just got to get reps and see if he can own that spot.
What did you see from that ball boy that kind of looks like you?
He needs to work on his hands. That's his mom's genes. No. It was funny. I saw him trying to catch punts, and he wasn't within 20 yards of one. So I told him I'd give him $5 if he just touched one. And the last one, he ran through and touched it, and I think he almost broke his arm. But no, he's starting football next week, so trying to get me a little used to it.
Is that what position he wants to play?
He says receiver. We'll see. That's what I recommend.
Much in the past versus
Yeah, he's been out a little in the past. He usually has a hat on. You don't notice him as much. He's really into his surfer cut now, so he wants everyone to see it. And keep trying to get him to wear a hat to cover up the sun, but he won't do it.
If you had to say, and I think in Jones have 3 quarterbacks, the fact it looks like you might have 2 starter level, quarterbacks on the roster, does that change how you view that, whether you'll keep 2 or 3?
No, ideally for a roster standpoint, you want to have 2 and have one on practice squad just so it doesn't hurt your roster, but you never let go of quarterbacks who you think can help you. And I think we got 4 in here who can play. And I know how hard it is to keep 4, but you don't want to let good quarterbacks go just because you have too many. So that's something that it's going to be a tough deal because we got some guys who can play, so it won't be an easy decision. It's nice that they get some preseason games so we can see them out there, but it's also tough for those 2 guys because of how many reps Jimmy and Trey get. But I know we got 4 guys that I believe in, and probably as deep of a group as we've had.
Jimmy's had plenty of camps under his belt. How has he used his experience to help out Trey and give him not the first camp jitters vibe, I guess?
I think that's just the dynamic in the room and how people feel around each other. Jimmy, there's no different energy in that room or anything. Those guys get along great. So, it's when they say that there's no awkwardness, they mean that. And I think the best thing that a starting quarterback can do for a rookie isn't just sit there and be in his ear all day. It's just to do things the right way, and they get to watch you. And that's what I've been real impressed with Jimmy, because how prepared he came into OTAs, how prepared he came into training camp, and that's allowed him to look on things and do stuff the right way from day one, and that's the best thing he can do for Trey. The worst thing would be a guy who's had success in this league, and a rookie is watching that guy, and he's not on his stuff. You don't want guys to think that you can be successful in this league without working.
Do you have a time frame for when you would expect Nico's to participate in team drills?
I don't. We're taking really a block at a time. Today, all is planned so far, but we haven't set a date where, hey, this is the day you start. We're doing the individual. I think every 3rd day is a maintenance day, I think. But I also I'm going to count on Nick on that the most. I know Nick. We don't have to make a lot of decisions for him when it comes to football. He's thinking about his body and what's right 24/7. I think it's tough when you got younger guys that you need to develop a lot and also protect. But as I've joked with Nick, I feel like he's been developed as a pass rusher since he was like 3, because he's been focused on it. So it's a little bit easier with him. You look back to his rookie year, and I think he got a high ankle sprain, I think before our first game. I don't think he played at all in the first preseason. We weren't sure if he was going to be ready for Tampa. And I think he'll get more time this year, because I think eventually we'll get into team drills and stuff, but we're taking that pretty much day by day.
Do you sense a different energy now that these fans are back and COVID protocols are a little less strict than last year?
Yeah, a huge difference. I think everyone's so eager, not just here, but I think everywhere, to get back to normal. It's not totally there, but you can tell. I know our building's ready for it. I know our players are ready for it, and you can tell the fans are ready for it. And we all got to be smart and do our part. But I mean, that energy is getting back to our normal life and getting back to a real football season. Which I mean that by having fans in the stands. We were excited about that all year, and now that we're here and we can see fans at practice, it's become more a reality. All right, guys. Thanks.
I'm doing good. How you doing?
What was your focus after last season? What did you work hard on or hardest on in the offseason to fill out your entire game?
I would probably say just strength, filling out my body, more muscle, being able to endure the long seasons. So endurance, body strength throughout my whole entire body.
What was it feel like coming into camp this year, having had, you didn't have to go through the pre-draft process, you focus on football and also have some OTAs and things like that? How much of that?
It was huge to have a full off season where I already was able to know what I needed to work on coming into this season. Just being able to get what I needed, being able to work with the quarterbacks, and just kind of having just a bunch of weight lifted off me, just not having to worry about stuff outside, just being able to worry about football and what I need to get done this season and things to work towards.
Over the summer, I think you worked out with Trey Lance. What were you able to learn from him, and what was that like, or learn about him, I should say?
From the first day I met Trey, we had the same speed trainer down in Orange County, so we were able to work out together starting there. But every single day, he was there every single day, ready to work no matter what he had going on. So just the character of the kid as a young kid, I just saw that early on.
You mentioned that you guys were a little disappointed when, Mohamed Sanu got cut last year. What's it like having him back and seeing him sort of in the shape that he used to be?
Yeah. I love Mo. Mo was somebody that I gravitated towards early from the first day he came into the building last season. So it was pretty upsetting to see him go, but I still kept in contact with him. I'm still learning from him, and then to have him back this season, seeing him in great shape, even better than where he was at last year, just being able to talk to him about certain things. He's been through it. He's been with a bunch of great receivers. He's a great receiver himself, so he knows everything from the ins and outs, taking care of your body, how to approach practices, how to approach off days, how to approach rehab, treatment, everything. So somebody like that is huge.
You had a play a couple days ago in practice where Jimmy rolled out kind of off schedule, found you, and Jimmy said that normally he would have to point to the receiver to go to a certain spot, but he said that you were already there. What is it about that chemistry? Have you been able to kind of figure Jimmy out, figure Trey out, to figure some of these off schedule plays, just given your time and the year under your belt?
Yeah, I think just being with Jimmy is just like, he kind of just, I don't know, I would just say there were certain plays last season in practice towards the end of the season where we were just on the same page, just like without even having to talk about it, without even having to go over it. We just kind of had the same type of feel for certain situations, and we saw that a little bit again. But I think if I'm correct on the play that you're talking about, that was really just just a ball by him, just great accuracy on the move, rolling out. So yeah.
Randy, you said you can read your body language really easily. Is that something that you actually think about, or is it just something that happens naturally?
I think it's more naturally, just having a feel for the game, having a feel for grass and area, and where people are going to be and what the quarterback may be thinking. So I think it's more a feel, natural thing.
Do you think you've made any progress on convincing the coaching staff to allow you to do punts this season? What are your thoughts on that?
I think for me, it's just going out there every single day and being consistent with the punt thing. I've taken a new approach this season and feeling punts, taking it personal, not letting any balls on the ground, going out there every single day, being thorough throughout meetings, throughout practice, and just putting myself in the best situation for whatever happens with that. I love returning punts, but I know there's some stuff that I had to clean up for myself to be back there. And if they feel confident putting me back there, then we'll see what happens.
Brandon, you were obviously really good at that in college. What are you talking about? Just mishandling some stuff last year that wasn't as good?
Well, I had I believe 2 opportunities on punt last year. So I don't think it was. I just think it was just with the stuff in the season that we had last year, the stuff that was going on. I don't even know if my body was in position to add on extra hits at returner. So, like I said, I'll handle what I had to handle at practice, and we'll see what happens with that.
A obviously you didn't do it much last year. Was that kind of a situation where you were a rookie, you obviously had time off, and so they didn't really want to put that on your plate? Was that part of the deal?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
You have to ask them.
Could you explain the drill you do where you have the towels under your arms, I assume to keep your arms tucked?
Yeah, so that's just like a drill. Just it forces you to keep your elbows in. 'Cause when you're fielding a punt, you want to use your elbows, kind of squeeze it in there. It makes it a little bit harder, but it's just kind of that memory of having your hands in the right spot, your elbows tucked, and it makes it a little bit harder to make it so that when you don't have the towels underneath your hand, it makes it a little bit easier for you.
How much muscle have you put on since your rookie year?
I'm not sure the exact amount that I put on. I put on 4 pounds, but also dropped in body fat and added muscle. So I'm not sure the exact amount, but.
Brandon, we can see, and anybody watching can see the mask. What's your situation?
I'm still working through the vaccine situation because I believe that is your question and what you're asking me. But yeah, still working towards that, but leave it at that.
It seems that there's a healthy rivalry between you and Deep on one side, Jason Barrett and K1 Williams on the other. How does their play lift your game?
First thing, Jason Barrett, that's another person that I gravitated towards a lot. I'm talking to him all the time. He was another person that I worked out in the off season with, training to the field. But he's one of the best corners in this league. So, and he tells me I could be one of the best receivers in this league. So it's kind of just like a healthy competition. We know we're getting each other better. K1, anytime you go in the slot, you know what you're going to get from K1. And anytime you go up against those guys, me and Devo know exactly how we have to come when we go against those guys, because really anybody on the defense, but we know exactly how we have to come against them because they're great defenders.
Something that they've done that kind of makes you, I guess, your game kind of develop even more? Like, is there something a technique that has gotten better because of that?
I think for everybody, for each corner, everybody plays a little bit different. Like Jason, he's a little bit more of a patient guy, very quick feet, so you kind of have to have different releases and different ideas when it comes to the line versus him. K1's the same way, Jimmy's the same way. All those guys bring a different skill set to the same job. So it's kind of just like figuring out how to do different things at different moments versus different guys, which is something that you're going to have to do in the season, going against different people who play different techniques. So I think that's been the main thing, just learning what you have to do against who.
Some of the other pass catchers coming to this team have said their rookie season was really kind of swimming, just trying to learn the playbook and not really having freedom to, just sort of let loose and play because they're still learning it. Do you feel like you've sort of you've reached that point where you can play a little bit more freely because you are a little bit more comfortable within the system?
Yeah, definitely. I think now, but this off, it's still to a point where you have to make sure that you're on point every single day because you will still mess it up if you're not really focused and paying attention. But I think I've got to a point this season to where I can get to the line of scrimmage and I could start thinking about what my plan is going to be as to running routes or releasing rather than getting to the line and, am I running this or am I running this? And really not even paying attention to the defense, being able to see the defense, seeing coverage, seeing the shell because you're worried about if you have the right play. So I think that's been the main thing this season, just having more of a grasp of the offense and being more confident going out there and just being able to play football now instead of having to think.
Trey Lance, did you meet him before the draft?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. So what was your reaction? You draft him, then you guys meet him, or then you meet him. Like, what was your first your first reaction upon meeting him and working out with him?
Well, so like I said, we were down in the same area, but he was working with a different group of guys. And then after he was done with the draft process, he was no longer with those guys, and he came in after us, or came in to work with us, so we were able to work together at that time. But what was your second part of that question?
Well, just your first reaction, what kind of impression did he make initially with you?
Well, our meeting off the bat, just his presence, for however old he was at the time, he was just a big dude, strong dude. Like I said, it was with the speed trainer, so he was a fast dude too. Just his presence.
Very good. Thank you, Brandon. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
How we doing?
Ray, what was it like just a couple weeks ago when you find out about Fred's deal? Does that kind of, as a fellow linebacker and seeing how the organization takes care of one of its own, does that kind of give you some more motivation?
Heck yeah. I mean, when I knew it was coming, just by the way that it works, and I mean, just kind of, like everybody else reading it, saying that, hopefully a deal's coming soon. So, just kind of been looking at it through there. But, I mean, once he got it, I mean, I was turned for him. I was happy because it's nobody in our program that deserves more than him. Just, what I'm saying, like, he's first one in, last one out. And, I mean, just to be able to play beside somebody that's dedicated to the game and love it like that, and also just to see somebody be able to reap the reward that they didn't work for. I mean, it just definitely makes you want to go harder, and just makes you want to look at him even more. Just the things that he's doing, because he's doing the right things.
Being in year 3 and kind of having a defined role, how much more comfortable are you coming into this game?
Just a lot more comfortable, just, as far as, with the scheme and what, D'Amico kind of expects of us, and just, the style that he wants us to play with, and, just, having him as a coach, I know that he demands a lot, not only, just from the linebackers, but just, me personally, he's on me hard just so, I can become the best linebacker I can. So, but this I feel so much more comfortable this year, just being around Fred and the other guys that I got around me. It's just it makes it easier to work with, and it makes it fun too.
Right, it's such a young and large group of linebackers you guys have that you're almost kind of a veteran of the group. What's that sort of been like?
I mean, really just we got a lot of young guys, a lot of linebackers in the room right now, and for me, as a third-year player, is technically one of the older guys. I mean, I just put my head down and work. That's the best way that I can really show my example of leadership is, working every day, trying to do the little things right, and getting better 1% every day, and and then at that, also getting the younger guys and showing them, maybe they got some misunderstanding on some things that, I know, or, I've been in their shoes before. I didn't been, like what's going on type deal. So, I'm more than happy to help the other linebackers out as well.
You got a linebacker in there, Marcel Harris, who hasn't played the position very much. What's that been like for him? I'm assuming he's part of the linebacker room and things like that. Does he go to you for advice, to Fred, and how do you think his transition?
For sure, Marcel, he's my locker mate, so I mean we talk a lot, and the transition for him. I mean, having in our room, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great ad, having somebody that can cover and just get that DB, kind of mindset that can, kind of help us, in some ways of, what I'm saying, whether it's covering running backs or covering tight ends, just giving us some tools as well. But I mean, he's coming along. As far as just becoming more of a linebacker. Some things that he got to work on just from the safety playing safety linebacker. But I mean, that's just comes with it. But he's doing a real good job of just becoming more of a linebacker.
You have some new faces in front of you on the defensive line. You've gotten a little bit maybe faster. It seems like you're playing a little faster. How does that affect what you're doing? What have you seen from them?
I'm sorry, say what?
Defensive line. Like you have there's some new guys up there on the defensive line. Some of the same ones, but how does that affect how you play? What have you seen from them in front of you?
I mean, the D lines, it's some new faces, but they all playing hard. That's all I know about them. Like they balls to the walls, and I mean, they getting out the ball fast, and they be just making it easy on us. I mean, the way they pushing our back. I mean, as linebackers, we just got to run and hit. And I mean, it's been a fun couple of days in practice, just seeing the way they work and just being behind them and going to work right with them.
What have you gotten to learn about Samson Ebukam, and how would you sort of describe his personality and what he's like as a teammate?
I mean, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. We kind of just talk a little bit every now and then in the coat tub and stuff. But I mean, he also, he'll come to me and ask me some questions about, whatever it may be, or pressure or whatever it may be. And I mean, I just enjoy, talking and helping, people that, that what I'm saying, that's trying to get it and pick it up and stuff like that, and that's new to the scheme. I just enjoy helping them. So, but I mean, he loved the game of football, and he liked to run and hit. So I mean, he's a perfect piece for our defense to add.
Just talking about close and forward or back, okay. And this defense could be like 2019 again. And Federal just said, well, we got to start talking about 2019 because it's just entirely new defense. I mean, do you understand what he's saying, or is that a message that you guys have talked about at all?
I mean, I don't even really look, into 2019 defense. I mean, I don't know. My mindset and everything is just on this year, on training camp, day 4, really. That's my mindset. I don't know. I just know that this year defense, I mean, we running and we're going to be a lot better, so.
How much do you look forward to put the pads on? I think it will be Tuesday. Is that like the first real day for linebackers when you can actually hit somebody?
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody on defense can't wait to put pads on. Just we ready to get started and get going. I think everybody kind of got, like a little chip on their shoulder. Everybody got, everybody, a lot of guys have been in the defense for, a couple years, or, we know the defense now. We know, the scheme that D'Amico wants to run, and I think everybody's just, excited to put the pads on Tuesday and get rolling.
Working with D'Amico, is it the same? I know he's got more responsibilities, but is it the same kind of interaction between you and him?
Yeah, for the most part, it's the same thing. If I still, need more understanding of something, or I feel comfortable going to D'Amico and asking him. He's still asking me, how the family, how everybody's doing. So, and I mean, I asked him the same thing. So, I mean, our relationship is just the same. Has changed not one bit. So, but yeah, so yeah.
That's good. Cool. Thanks, Ray.
Perfect. Thank you.
Coming here briefly, why do you want to come back?
I just love the team and organization. I knew it wasn't anything personal, and I know it was just how everything was planned out. I wasn't at my best, still coming off that ankle injury, getting all the way back to myself, and it was just business.
At what point did you realize you could get back to your best, and when did that time come?
Shortly after, like a week or two after, I was feeling like myself, and when I went up to Detroit, just felt like me again and ended the season pretty well.
You mentioned that you are kind of one of those guys that needs a training camp to kind of get the momentum going. Is that part of what the challenge was last year?
Yeah, it was taking that little brief time off from coming from New England, and then wasn't really training as hard, I would say. And I was just taking a little time for myself, and then when I came here, I wasn't in the best shape that I needed to be in, and was able to take full advantage when I went to Detroit. So I'm glad I was able to come in the off season and be able to join camp and take full advantage of my reps and opportunity.
You reached out to him directly about trying to come back here. What was your kind of pitch, or did you need one given your relationship?
I just told him, I was like, hey, coach, if you need a guy to come in there, and I know, me and the guys in the room were very close. They were upset I left, and I was upset too, but it was part of the business. And I just told him, if you need a guy like me, I'm ready.
Did you send videos or anything? Did you have to back it up? This is kind of where I'm at.
I'm not necessarily sure. We talked about it, and then, he reached out. Him and Wes reached out, said they definitely wanted me to come back, and we were able to figure something out.
One of those robotic ball throwers, right? I'm wondering whether that was used quite a bit during, the quarantine and whatnot.
I used it, but it's hard to lug around. I use it more primarily at the house, and me and my personal trainer, he can throw the ball pretty well too. So Drew gets it done.
You and Trey worked out in Atlanta. What was that like? You just being around him for the first time in that experience?
It was good. It was fun. I mean, I told Trey when he get back to Atlanta, because I know he trains in Atlanta with Quincy. Just hit me, let me know. We'll get together, and we got some good work in for those couple of days that we were there, and we had fun.
As you said, the guys were upset you were cut, and Debo was pretty vocal about that the other day. How much do you relish the opportunity to be a veteran leader in that room?
I love showing the guys how to handle business, take care of business, how to be a pro. Some of them don't have that understanding yet, and they come to me, ask me questions, and I give them all the answers that I can. Tell them how to become a better pro, how to handle business day in and day out.
The fact that they look up to you and really go to you as a resource, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel pretty good, because to them they see me as an accomplished veteran in the league, and I just come in and work every day to prove myself, let them know, I'm working too. And we all have to get better to reach the goal that we necessarily want.
How would you describe Brandon Ayuk's game as a wide receiver?
He's a special talent. Brandon can do any and everything on the field. When he's out there, he moves really well, catches the ball really well, releases well, gets in and out, breaks extremely well. So watching him get better and better every day has been pretty cool, and I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Mohammed, when we look at, or when I look at the wide receiving core, it's pretty obvious, Devo, Brandon. But, there are questions about that slot guy or the number 3 guy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about the group of guys who are competing for that spot, and, yourself included?
I think we are all competing hard, and it should be fun. Whoever ends up being that guy, and I'm sure, I'm fighting for it too. We're going to do a great job. That's the standard that we have in our room. We all got to come in and play with intent, play with it at a high level for our team to be as successful as we want to be.
In the 2019 season, the trade deadline, were you hopeful, or were you aware that the 49ers were interested in the receiver? And did you?
Yeah, I known for a little bit. I known Kyle actually tried a few times before then, and Falcons turned him down. And when everything came to about, they only had a 3rd and 4th round pick, and Patriots had a 2nd, so they ended up winning that battle.
Go ahead, Barrett.
When you were releasing here last year, I mean, as a competitor, were you like, this is BS, I should say,
No.
release me? Or was there an acknowledgement like, yeah, I know, I'm not quite right?
No, I understood. I'm a football player, and I got common sense too. I'm a realist, Like I know if I was at my best and they cut me, then I would have been like, damn. But I wasn't, and I knew that, so I had to go and get right and take advantage of the next opportunity.
We can see that you're wearing a mask. Are you able, willing to?
I'm in the
share
process of it now.
on it?
I'm sorry, I'm in the process of it now. I got my next shot next week.
What was the key for you to get right? Like, was it mostly the ankle stuff? Did you require surgery or anything like that?
I had surgery on my ankle in March, so I was getting all the way back full strength and getting in shape and getting the workload. It was a process. It was pretty extensive surgery, but I healed pretty quickly. But I had to build back to my true self and get in better shape.
There was some perception that maybe you couldn't get back to that guy. Does that add any motivation for you coming back to?
Sure. I mean, somebody tell you what you can and can't do without them knowing exactly who you are as a person, you as a competitor, gives you a little fire, and I'm excited for this opportunity I have now.
You were playing, I think I got this right, you were playing on that high ankle sprain at least a little bit in New England. And obviously giving up a second round pick, did you feel like, man, I've got to give this a go, and did you realize you were on pretty much?
Oh yeah, I shouldn't have played on it, but knowing it was times last year, and I was traded for a second round pick. I just wanted to show, like, hey, y'all got a tough dude that's gonna do whatever he can to compete for you guys, and it ended up backfiring because this business asked me to take a pay cut, which is business. I didn't perform the way I needed to on it, and everything fell the way it did, but I'm happy to be where I'm at now. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
What's good?
You had a lot of success out there rushing the passer. What do you feel like after a day like that?
Felt great. It's only the third day, so a lot of things to still work on, but altogether it felt great.
What do you have to work on?
Just reading what the offense is doing more, being a little bit more physical, just like the minute details, getting off the rock pretty well. Just got to figure out a way to just do it more crisp.
Have you adjusted to Chris Kasarik and his style of coaching?
Yeah, I adjusted in OTAs. Yeah, he's kind of like the same coach that I had with Coach Henney with the Rams, but he's a little bit more fiery, which I like, and he commands respect in the room. And just being under him, it's like I want to work harder just to prove him right, because he got a lot of positive things to say about all of us. And he just commands the respect in the room. I like him.
I was going to ask you about there's just this energy that comes from that corner when you guys are hitting the sleds. So you said that, does that compare to when you were the Rams, or is it higher? Or?
It's definitely higher, which is why I welcome it, because, you know what I'm saying, I don't want to let anybody down. And I know that he chose for me to come here, and just having that chip on the shoulder, you know what I'm saying, every time that my number's called up, I always want to perform.
Obviously, faced Trent Williams before, but what's your impression just being with him day to day in camp?
He's a dog. He's a dog, man. Like, it's so exhausting trying to rush against him every single play. Like, I'm running out of moves to throw at him, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's good, though. You know what I'm saying? Going up against him every day, win or loss, I'm always learning something from the film. So I just kind of like this. I just take the leash off and just go after it, and, like, you know what I'm saying, whatever happens, happens, and everything else is just gonna be corrected in film. But I like going up against him the whole time, because I always got to be on my toes, and most of the time he already knows exactly what I'm about to do. So I just got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
How important, when you were making your free agent decision, was the role to potentially be a designated pass rusher as opposed to what you were doing with the Rams?
Can you say that again?
When you made your free agent decision, how important was it to be a designated pass rusher, defensive end, rather than an outside linebacker with other responsibilities?
I mean, I came to the league to rush the passer. My roles changed with the Rams, but I just kind of adapted to it, and just to have the opportunity to do it here, I had to jump at it, because opportunity only knocks once. Yeah.
You also said that Trent Williams changes what he does on the line constantly, and that's kind of what keeps him, active and really staying fresh in what he does. Would you say the same thing? Yeah.
That's why I always got to be on my toes. He's going to show me something different every time. That's why I have to always mix it up, because if I show him the same pass rush move multiple times, he's just going to start reading into it, And that's why it's like it might work, it might not work, especially against someone of a high caliber like that, because I know if it works on him, it's definitely going to work on everyone else, because he's the best in the game at it.
Would you say he does that more than other tackles you've played against?
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does.
How has it been helpful for you to be able to focus only on the role of a defensive end in this training?
Oh, man, it's so much easier mentally. Definitely harder physically, but I've never complained about that. So, yeah, it's definitely easier mentally, because then I could just go. And that was kind of the block that I had to get past, because I've had so much things to think about in the past, like before a snap. And now it's just like, it's just green light at all times.
Sounds like Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers really admired your game from afar the last few years. Were you aware how they felt about you? Did they talk to you after game?
Yeah, a couple of times. They just said, like, good job. You really coming off the edge. Just little things like that. I didn't know that they were really all that interested in me.
I realize you haven't played the game yet, but it really looks like you fit in well here, like what they ask you to do and your skill set and everything else. Do you kind of feel that way too, like this is a really good situation for you to kind of show the world what you can do?
Oh, yeah, because they got the same mentality as me, you know what I'm saying, reckless but controlled, and just like always getting after it. Like, it doesn't always have to be pretty. You just got to get after it and find a way to make things happen.
You guys are doing that sled drill out there every day, and competing to be the guy who hits it first. Is there a tally? I mean, is somebody keeping track of who's winning those?
No. We probably should start doing that though. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, we can beat the D tackles, but I'm pretty sure that Chris got a little, he's kind of letting the D tackles win a little bit right now.
Who have you been pitted up against so far, and how have you fared in that competition?
I've gone up against everyone. And at first I wasn't very good, but now that I know exactly how to hit that sled, I'm actually doing pretty damn good.
I noticed that he was making a big deal about keeping score between D tackles and D ends. Does he try to create a little rivalry between?
Oh yeah, of course. Because I mean, right there, that drill right there kind of favors the D tackles in a way because they're in the trenches, like they're used to like just taking off and just shooting their hands immediately. For the D ends, we got a little bit more space, so we're not used to that. So they definitely got an advantage, but it just drives us more because if we can beat them at their own drill, the faster that we're gonna get off in a team setting.
What's Chris Kosarek like in the meeting room watching film? Does he have that same energy?
He's the exact same person. He's the exact same person. It's never off. Like he'll be calm. Like let's say that, you know what I'm saying, we're talking in the hallway. He'll be calm, and then all of a sudden, like 30 seconds later, he starts talking football, and it's over with. But you know what I'm saying. I love it though because I can learn so much from him. You know what I'm saying. So I'm a sponge right now. I'm just soaking up everything that he's got to say. I don't question it because it's like he knows more than me. You know what I'm saying. So I'm just trying to learn everything that I can.
When you signed with the Braves, remember on a Zoom call you said that you kind of admitted that you're not necessarily a technician, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you improved in that area since you've come here?
Yeah.
In what ways?
My get off has been better. My hand placement's been better. And just like the part of like the not thinking about the game so much has allowed me to play faster. So I'm definitely like getting better as I can tell from film. And then after practice, I'm always like trying to like get in extra work however I can.
I can't remember the number, but your 10-yard split coming out of college was a really good time. I mean, that sort of implies that you have a good get-off, you know, right from the get-go. I mean, what else is going into a get-off besides just, you know, the suddenness that you're doing there?
Technique, just like you said. You know, I got to work on that more. And then, like, my mindset's always been the same, just get after it, like, be ferocious, you know. So the get-off definitely, you know, it's good, but it's not the best thing. Like, you don't always have to have a perfect get-off, but if you got, like, technique, you can beat whoever that you want to beat.
Has D Ford been a resource
Mm-hmm.
as far as talking shop with him about the get-off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, because his two-point stance is crazy. So I've been definitely watching film on him, how he gets off in his two-point, and I'm trying to get it so I could like get lower to the ground, just so that when I'm making contact, I'm so low that they can like miss my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? That's how low he gets to the ground. So I'm trying to kind of mimic that in a way.
What do you think's been the key for you in terms of just durability and the way you prepare?
What do you mean?
Given that you've never missed a game, is there anything specific that you can point to?
No, just take care of the body, kind of like everyone else. And God has been blessing me for what is it, going on year 5 now. I haven't had any serious injuries, so I pray that He keeps blessing me.
How involved is D'Amico in the defensive line room, and what is your relationship been with?
He kind of just leaves us alone. I'm not gonna lie to you, because he knows how Chris likes to operate, and other than that, he knows how D lines are. You know what I'm saying? Because he's played, so he's just keeping the play calling simple, just so that we can play faster. Because he knows that if we play faster, everyone else is gonna look good behind.
Thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.